Oh,
I
that
think,
definitely.
yeah,
I
think
can't
also,
imagine a
I
woman
think
would do
society
that.
also just tells girls and women just so much that's like you can't be like that. So it's like they don't like
That's
from
okay,
so
though.
young.
Yeah, that's okay though. They don't have to be.
No, they don't have to be.
to.
They don't have to be feral. No.
But it's unfair that we feel like it's alright.
No, the thing is, I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Nobody wants anybody dirty, right? So it's like, I'm really only done these things this often when I've been single, right? When it's just been me. Like when you're with
that's so
somebody, you don't
funny.
really do these. Okay, here's something I've noticed.
So funny.
Here's something I've noticed about being single versus being in a relationship. Is that I think being in a relationship brought out probably my best qualities. Probably brought out the best in me.
Yeah.
But
The real you came out.
right, like not only real, but just more. Like
Yeah.
there's more of me that's here now that I'm single. And just because it's not necessarily the best parts of me doesn't mean it's not good. All right, there's still some things that I'm enjoying out here, right? But what?
Yourself, 24/7.
Exactly, like you have to, and that also, of course, is like there might be things you don't like or things like okay, maybe hey, didn't know this was here. Right? Don't. Right? One of those. I've had a few of those, and it's like you also notice things that maybe they want to change, you want to work on, you want to evolve, and that's it's real shit. Even though I did the voice. No, I'm mocking, but it's like it's so real. You should. But so it's like these are my habits of singletude. But it's like when I'm with somebody, I don't want to be like that, and I also don't want them to see me like that. So it's like I think it kind of goes both ways. Like I have no problem if a girl just like in public, right? Like, and especially if we're like dating or together, then it's fine. You'll go piss in public. It's fine. But it's like, I mean, cut your fingernails. Right? I'm gonna do the same thing though. Like I'm gonna hold myself to the same standard. So it's like we all like should be considerate of each other in terms of our grossness, and be gross when you're on your own or with the people that you can be gross with. Like like y'all. Anyway, so we're back up in here in the booth. It's the OG team, me and Emilio. James is not here. He's reneging on his contract, and is that the right word? Can I say that word? That was it. That word was pretty crazy. But I don't know. He's going to a wedding or something. Oh yeah, his cousin's wedding. They're getting married to each other. He's from Dallas, so that's what they do down there. Listen, if he wants to defend it, he should be here.
Some of the things that he does that are for Americans are not for the betterment of everyone. It's who he defines as American too.
Right.
Wait, so are you talking about? So are you talking about his decisions and his things that he thinks are better for Americans? But he's not thinking about the other nations he's affecting.
Other nations, other.
Well, yeah, that's hard to think about. I mean, he's supposed
I
to.
think
be American.
honestly, I think most people don't care about other nations.
I was gonna say,
which
yeah. I mean,
I think
he
it's
should be
not said
American.
enough.
Why is another?
Most
president?
people are their country first.
Yeah,
even the ones
but that
in
makes
the-
sense though.
It does,
Yeah.
which is like why
Because,
I think it's
like,
kind
in
of crazy
Brazil,
he
like-
gets killed for that.
Yeah. Who?
That he gets killed for that
Oh,
being quote unquote. I think he should get killed because he doesn't actually believe in that. Like he doesn't actually
America
believe.
first.
I think he believes in him first, or whoever he's tied to first. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think there is even a. What's up? I don't think there's even a even basis for him to stand on like America first type of shit. But I could agree more with that because every country does that. Every country does them first.
Yeah.
Every country does blah 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 whatever. Even like things with the Paris Climate Accords and things like that. Of course, everyone was for that because they wouldn't have had to change the most. Like America is one of the ones that would have had to change the most, right, for those things. So I can understand having more problems with it. Now again, I think they should have said yes. I think they should have gone into the deal, and I think everybody should be on it. But I mean, of course, like kind of,
That's
of
my
course.
thing. Like we don't think that much. We don't understand the systems that are affecting the entire world. Like no matter how much we talk about it.
Us three, yeah, no, we don't.
Like Americans in general, and probably a lot of politicians don't understand the systems as much as possible because it's so convoluted that no one probably
Purposefully,
understands.
isn't that crazy?
We're all just making theories about how we should go about it, and
Right.
then people go through and do that, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
that was just to say back to the social media versus real life tangible moves point. And it's like you said, I like what you just said about how if it's a dream you want for the future, it has to be a reality now. That's sick because that makes it less of a dream but more of a future reality where it's just like each moment is building up to that, and you can't have that.
You're living it now. Too.
You're exactly. Your every moment is building towards it because you can't have it instantly.
Because what is the reality that we want? I don't even know what that means. Like, what does that mean to be in the film business? What does that mean to be in Hollywood? What does that mean to sit in some house and like write a movie and like on a vacation spot, you know, after
That's what I think.
What does that mean?
So much more else into it that we have no idea about. Like actually sitting in offices, like actually having to go to a meeting.
God.
Actually have to,
dude,
and it's like right now I'm just thinking, it's like, dude, I thought I could just like put on a bean, right? Like hop in the stew, maybe.
But that's the foundation.
Yeah,
because if you don't have that, I feel like I don't know if that's true either, dude.
I think for the stuff that lasts, which is what I think we're both going for in our respective fields.
The stuff that might not be understood at first.
Exactly.
Too.
Even the stuff that could have impact that isn't super celebrated, which of course I do want
in the moment.
And of course I want that. Like I want I want that recognition, but at the end of the day, it is about where it goes, how it lasts, and how it impacts, and how long it can for. But I want it to be great enough that it impacts in the moment, it gets to enough people that it can impact in the moment. That even if I don't need to be, you know, in all the tabloids, like all that stuff, but I do want to be like talked about. You know, I want to be recognized.
Of course.
I want to be
While
in the
I'm alive
culture.
or
Of
something.
course,
Yeah,
I want some
things.
recognition because I've been working for this for a long time and putting a lot of work into it on a daily basis.
Even now, it's been a long time. Like
exactly,
today,
and we're in the earliest stage. We're in the earliest stage, and it's already been a lot of work put in. I wonder it's the 10,000 hour theory. I don't know where I'm at on the list. I don't know on the list or on this.
I'm nowhere close.
Me neither, but I don't even know how to quantify that because I feel like it's a lot. But 10,000 hours is also a lot. Like that is a lot of hours. I like the light-skinned diaspora that we represent here. I think it's a good little representation of I don't want to keep saying these words because they are what they are, but of like diversity, but not only of skin color, but like of thought and of heritage, of richness, of culture, and like and it's cool to also see that like-mindedness is what joins us, you know, and difference is what we come together on.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Because if you talk to the person that agrees with you on everything, you're gonna get bored.
Of course.
You're gonna get so bored.
Because what are you gonna talk about? That's not necessarily true because Emilio and I do agree on a lot of things, like when we're talking, and then we'll just build on the humor of it. But it's just more like a willingness to indulge, you know, like in the idea or in the like, because you can still. Of course, it's important to disagree, and I do think that is a lost art, quote unquote, of like just conversation or just people's thinking nowadays, just disagreeing, but. That's not to say that agreeing doesn't mean that ideas can be built, you know, or that like sentiments can be built, or that good conversation can come off of agreement. Because it's more about the difference than necessarily disagreeing. Like people can look at the same thing and approach it many different ways, right? Whether that's on the same side, and that's why like a wider spectrum is kind of needed in terms of like opinion, and that's why you want people who think differently and think, because then it gives you more pockets to operate in, right? Like in terms of thought, as opposed to just a, you know, what's the word, like a polarized spectrum or whatever, you know. You know, wink. You're gonna wink at me.
You're doing good, Tyler.
You're gonna wink at me.
You're doing good,
God.
dude.
Look, there we go. That's it. We're all agreeing. Look, maybe I'm in the wrong room because no one's yelling at me.
But I think also, even to your point about us like agreeing, and you were saying, I think that because we don't really disagree much, but I think there's a lot of learning, you know, that takes place. Yeah,
which is cool to like know that you don't know everything about your view, even like there are ways of thinking where, like we said, we do agree on things, or like, you know, you and I, any of us in here agree on things, but differently. Like it's crazy. Like
for
it's just weird to say exactly for different reasons, and that's where like the diversity of background matters, or like the diversity of culture, or of, like we just said, just thought matters, because it takes looking at the same thing differently to create anything, like to make change on anything, like to do something of your own volition or of your own mind. Like it takes looking at that and saying, no, I'm going to make it that.
Because in a way, like everything's been done. You know, I think also with like when I think of like stories specifically, like movies or something,
or tropes, the hero's journey, dude. Like that's in
or like the plot.
Thing.
Yeah, the plot. Everything's been told. You know, that way.
I think anything we do is gonna have repercussions across the world, right? So like, even if we say we're for Americans, if we do something that affects another country, it's gonna come back about us.
Like ISIS type of shit, is that what we're talking about? Yeah. How do you feel as an individual American in terms of like the power
political rabbit hole?
Yeah, this is crazy. I don't know how we got here, but I mean, I like it.
You drove it
we
here.
talk about war. So.
Listen, my eyes were closed while we were driving.
About the Holocaust.
I was driving drunk, so we just ended up here.
So it's not.
That's a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
You just revealed it.
It's tea. It's a metaphor.
Sure, yeah. Spike tea.
Who knows? Iced tea. Who knows? But that's funny. Can we actually take a break? Because I have to pee.
What the?
I have to pee.
We are heated right now.
I know. Okay, I can keep going. Let's
finish the politics.
Let's run this topic out.
What did you ask? How do you feel as American?
Yeah, just because you said.
Jesus.
What just happened? The last 45 seconds. What just happened?
It's peaking like crazy.
What just happened?
Total goonery.
Okay. No, because you said, you know, we, like, when we do things, blah, blah, and I totally understand identifying as a country, and, like, any country does that, I'm positive. People do it with basketball teams. Of course they do it with countries. Like, people who have never stepped foot on a basketball court will say, yeah, we made it to the playoffs. Yo, we made the right decision with coach. You don't even know how to do a jab step. How the hell are you going to tell me if you made the right draft pick? Over the next 5 years. What the hell are you talking about? No, I hate that shit. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I hate when people say we when they're not on the team or affiliated with the team. The thing is, no, I was about to say I've definitely slipped up with it in the past, but I've hated when I've done it, and I hate.
I try not to do it.
I try very hard not to. I ain't part of the team for shit. They don't care about me. I do nothing. What was that? A tangent off of?
You were talking about how do you feel something
and like a stunning lack of racism. You know, like living up here in the North all your life, you get fed this idea, and I realized this after being there. You get fed this idea of you're only ever gonna see white people unless you go to like Louisiana, like New Orleans, or New Orleans, Nolens, or like any other. I don't even know what the other cities that they say are like mostly black in the South, but like unless you go to something like that, you're gonna see just white people everywhere. You're gonna like they're gonna be racist, right? Like that's like the picture that's painted.
I couldn't imagine
it's
that.
absolutely ridiculous, and it's like. It's
a wide brush to paint people with.
And, dude, it's crazy because, you know, the people that paint that brush are the same people who, like, claim to be on the side of, you know, like, minorities, of black and brown people, things like that, where it's like the whole fight is don't paint us with that brush. The whole point is we're not one type of person. We are a diaspora of, like, ideas and blah, 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 and we're, like, our own people, like, that type of thing. And it's like... That's exactly what Northerners do to the South. I don't know about, and we'll ask you in a second, I don't know what Southerners do to the North, but like just being in my experience, that's like, and going there was great because it was able to shatter like stereotypes that I had of the South that I didn't realize I had, that I realized was just spoon-fed
big takeaways.
And dude, and it's like, I saw more integration in public in terms of, and I was in like a few different settings. I was like around a college campus. I was in Memphis, which is like a city. And then I was in Little Rock, Arkansas, which is like kind of small towny, right? So that's like three kind of different settings. And I saw more integrated in terms of just straight black, white, we're talking, not everybody else, but we're talking straight black, white, like interminglings of couples, friend groups, like what appeared to be work relationships, like things like that. Way more than I see in Boston. Way more. I swear to God, I saw it almost every day I was down there. And it's like just being around here at Suffolk in the financial district, I don't see that. I don't see that around here as much. And I was just like, holy shit. like I know I'm only here for the weekend or the week or whatever, but it's like, look at how the world is actually different once you go see it.
Yeah.
Once you go see the things that you've only been told about, you see it for your own like opinion, you know, and like, and that was just, I realized like I've just been kind of lied to. Like obviously there are things that exist like,
But did you believe it?
I think subconsciously there was parts
Yeah.
of me that did, yes. I don't think fully, because I think in general I try to be pretty open-minded, but I do think just because from such a young age I was born, like Toronto is like that kind of liberal ass type of city, right? Like in terms of mindset, Boston is like that, like New York is kind of like that, which like those are the 3 northern cities that I've had the most experience with. And so yeah, you kind of do get fed those things as a kid, whether they're lies or true. Like there are truths within the exaggeration, but that's what it is an exaggeration, right? So it's like it takes discerning between the truth and the exaggeration, which is you can only find out once you actually go there. You can't find out by being told. You only get an idea. You don't get the objective like reality that it is. And it's not even objective because it is still your experience, and there are other people that will experience different things, but the point is not to be the same as somebody, but to go there and experience it. And that goes back to the diversity of thought thing we were talking about, just like the spectrum of thought, like, and people just need to be around people, and people need to like shatter their own stereotypes.
No. It was of this aspect. It was kind of off topic, no lie, but you know I'm crazy. I was kind of along the lines of this aspect of having power, of having almost like agency, feeling like you can affect things. Maybe not even by yourself, but if you coalition build. But because you were talking about when we do things that affect the rest of the world, or like when we move this way, when we move that way, do you feel like as a citizen that it is actually a we, or is it
your vote
that
matters?
right?
Basically.
I mean, basically,
Yeah.
That's essentially like,
yeah.
does your vote matter, or like, is there just the overarching something else that's really has the power? Like what we were talking about outside. I don't remember the full context, but we're talking about the ranks, like in a military structure. If you're a captain, yeah, sure, you command the lieutenants and the soldiers, right? And like you can kind of do what you want a little bit, but there's someone dictating what you want, right? Like the bounds of what you can do and what you want. Like the general dictates that. So like, I don't know. Like, do you feel any which way about that?
So I think we all kind of want some kind of like agency in our life. That's why most people believe in free will, right? They're like, I don't want to say most people, but people believe in it because they're like, yeah, if I don't have free will, then what am I doing, right?
Yeah.
So I think we all have spheres of influence, right? Right now, definitely.
That's a good term. That's SAT
Did
term.
You say
spheres of influence?
Oh, I thought you said spears.
Spears.
Stab your ass with my spear of influence.
I like it.
Penetrate through. Yeah,
that's what influences do sometimes.
Yeah. Nice little spear.
Well, if you got a bubble of influence, I guess.
Give it a little shank. Like, what is that?
It's like a jacking.
Is that the spear? Yeah. What are you looking for? Yeah. Is that the spear that you're shaking or that you're piercing with?
I don't know. It was his term.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Spheres of influence.
Yeah. So.
Imagine writing an essay, like he was saying some smart ass shit, and then we were just like, dick, spears. Jacking it, spears. Like that is the middle of your college essay.
Anyways.
My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we all got small spheres right now.
Thank you.
Now it sounds like we're talking about testicles.
No joke, no.
Dude, he's crazy.
Oh, kick on. What else you got for me?
If like we'll reach a point where I mean like as we work and network and talk to people, that influence grows, right? Especially as media makers, like our thing is we reach a bigger audience. As we
hopefully, I hope you're all listening.
Yeah, hopefully.
No,
we reach a bigger and bigger audience. And
we reached 2 this week. All right.
I did want to say something
one up
else
from
about
last week.
The documentary.
Yeah.
That was
we will.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like we'll reach a point where we're affecting a lot of people in different ways.
That's the goal, dude.
Yeah, that's the dream.
It's definitely the goal. Dude, you are, I mean, probably out of the 3 of us right now, the one who's feeling it the most. Definitely now, I would say probably all time, just in terms of all your creative endeavors, back to rap, to film, to to clothing, to anything like that. But you are feeling people feeling an effect from your work and from your creativity. Even people, you mentioned it, people that were at the first showcase that still came to the second, right? Or people that are getting more things or different things out of the second than they are at the first. So like, how does that feel as a creative? Because obviously, like you said, we all want that. We all are pretty much striving for that, or like you said, James, my bad. But we're all kind of want that. How does that feel?
It's funny because
I mean, it could be because in terms of like we're talking about identity, like identity is a broad term, and so the more things you add to it, makes it more difficult. You know, like makes it harder to find out. If you're just like white from America, but your family's been here for like generations, you don't have attachment to much of an ethnic history except kind of like American, right? Like we're talking not a immigrant family. We're talking like maybe they came over on the Mayflower and they.
That's gonna happen to us too, though.
It will.
Yeah.
And it could. It very well
No, it
could.
will.
No.
I mean, if humans are around long enough and our family tree lasts long enough, we're gonna be the same thing.
Which are you? Do you like, or what do you think about that?
I can't control it.
No,
I hope my
no,
family.
no.
I hope my name lasts.
I hope
long.
my people last. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But it's like, is that where we want to get, or
And
do
is
we
that-
want to keep some type of like difference?
You couldn't. I mean, because the motherland,
Just
the
eventually.
motherland is for me that's Italy. So I mean, like my family came from Italy. And I'm not coming from Italy.
Yeah.
My kids aren't gonna come from Italy.
Definitely not.
Yeah, and like
And
their kids
eventually-
aren't likely gonna come from Italy either. So it's
And it'll spread.
it stops here and it keeps
Yeah.
going forward.
So there was one type of people once when there was the first people, right? Like it's like
that came from somewhere.
Right, like,
yeah.
No, but I just mean this in the sense of
Yeah.
there was once all the same people that then became more, right?
What?
Like they became once. I agree. But I'm just saying, and so now they're gonna become one again, perhaps.
I'm not following.
He's saying we all came from.
We all came from like
One
Africa,
place.
right?
Okay.
Like the African
Yeah.
geography, whatever. And
Asiatic.
then eventually people spread across the country, and they
And
changed
bred from
into
there.
Bred from there,
Yeah.
adapted to their
Yeah,
environment.
yeah.
Like a lot of physical and genetic.
Yes.
Which is crazy that
That was
like
over
our
years.
genes changed.
Years.
No, of course it is.
Just
Of course it is.
years.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And now, of course, it is. Like look how long it's taken for us to get back to where you're saying we'll all be the same. Like we're not even there yet, but we're in the part that's transitioning to that, and like it took from beginning of humans to now, right? So it's like this is not a overnight thing, of course not. But then is there going to be a point where everyone becomes the same and then it branches off again?
I don't know.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Because
If a meteor doesn't strike first.
At that point.
Think about how many.
We'd have to go to space, dude.
Well,
Whoa,
that's what I was
space,
Think about
space people. That's the new. Oh, whoa, that's the new race. Is Mars? Martian.
That's it.
Dude,
You're
that's
just
an-
from
that's an
Mars.
anime. Like that's.
It's coming,
that's what
bro.
Gundam is, yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
That's the thing though. Like I forgot what I was gonna say.
No. I want you to remember. It was
You're
about,
coming from Mars.
No, so
Mars
about
is
how many-
home.
Race and Mars. Those are our two hits.
how many like social conflicts spawn from us like just arguing over where we're from. You know.
Yeah.
Surface level. Let's think like. We started
Earth.
here in Africa, right? We spread out, and then we start like saying like, "Nah, this is my area. I want more of my area."
This
too."
corner
I
of the
want your
world.
area,
Yeah.
you
When
know?
it's like I came from that area.
Yeah,
When I came from an area of people who, well,
but now
it depends how long we're talking.
we've taken over everything, right? In on the earth, pretty
Right,
much.
so we can't spread out to more.
Yeah, unless you really wanted that.
So
bad.
once-
Yeah. War.
Whoa.
Yeah.
War.
That's the only conclusion.
I wonder if there would be less war. I wonder if there would be less war if everybody was looked the same.
Nah.
No. But like if everybody was of our, none of us are from the same place. None of us have the same ethnic background, but like our skin is the same color,
Yeah.
right? And we all.
So if you think
acknowledge-
the skin color, if that was
I don't
the
think
same,
it's the only thing.
Okay, I don't think that would
I
change
don't
it.
think that's the only thing that causes conflict. Don't get me wrong, but I think we all can acknowledge that race, especially in terms of American things, plays a part in a lot of stuff, right? Whether domestically or internationally.
Yeah.
So, if people like start to become the same, like looking on the outside, is that like the next step towards like a sort of Star Trek type of world where the Federation is global, like it's a world entity,
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like.
Do you think we could ever have that though without some other earthly, like something outside of Earth coming here? I don't think we could ever have any.
It's growing. This conversation.
Well, because it's growing.
It grew into space.
Because the conditions of what we're talking about has
We went
to
from
grow.
Earth to space.
I don't think we'll ever look at ourselves as like this global entity unless there's something outside of our Earth
Yeah.
Well,
that shows itself.
That's the classic
Let's say,
like
like,
Martian
we-
It
movies.
is. No, it is. It's the classic like aliens attacking and we all and like
Everybody comes
North
together.
Korea, Russia, and America all
Yeah.
come together because they have to fight. Blah blah blah. So it's like, is that what it takes for us to have a global identity?
Well,
Is something other-
hypothetically.
that's right now that's the limits for us.
Yeah, well, let's say we get to that point where we are all united, right? What is our purpose then? Like, what are we gonna do?
What
do we do?
Wow, I wonder what we
that
could
is a
do.
good point.
That's crazy.
But the thing is, it depends on what the nature of what brought us together is,
Oh.
right? Like if it's something where we found a new,
It'd have to be
planet
something
that we can
devastating. Oh
populate,
yeah, I guess
then
it could
what
be
we do
good.
next might be trying to populate more of space, trying to
Maybe-
reach out more. If it's we got
And then we
attacked-
fight for that.
Right? No, exactly. No.
Seriously,
No, for
of
real,
course.
for real, because because it could be things that we find life on that can fight back or not. But
Oh,
even
yeah.
if it's like we got attacked, like say it's not something we went out to find, say we got attacked by some other alien entity, then that purpose, what we do next is build up our defenses or build up ways to go out and attack them first. So either way, it's kind of like a going outwards from Earth tract. But I mean, I would hope for we discovered, didn't have to conquer, but discovered and were able to expand rather than we discovered, conquered, we were attacked, and that's how we realized that
There's more.
larger space.
Yeah.
in the
Climate change
universe.
is kind of pushing us to do something soon.
It is, but the thing is, it still is too different than global because some places are getting affected before others.
Yeah.
Like coastal countries, things
And
like
we don't
that
even
are
all
on
believe
effect.
in climate change.
We don't even all exactly.
Yeah.
How can we unite globally if not even
Yeah.
everybody believes it?
That's what's so frustrating.
But the
Yeah.
thing is,
So
Speaking of
frustrating.
science, dude.
is it the majority of people that don't believe in it?
No, I don't.
I don't think
I
so.
actually, I
would
can't.
have- I don't
I
even know how you would quantify.
I think
that.
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think there's so many other issues that people from our older generation are trying to figure out and deal with. Like they're
People
talking
need to
about
die,
they're
yo.
talking about old stuff.
All people need to die.
dude,
Dude,
I
we're
honestly
dealing
think-
with so much stuff from, especially men in general. We're dealing with so much
Dude,
sins
the world's
from
different.
from
We're-
men.
We're like
Yes.
women have like a voice actually now, like where
Yeah, actually.
people. I mean, dude, they didn't for the longest time, and that's like I'm saying that as a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But there are still men that exist that think that they shouldn't have a voice,
That's
right? So
wild.
it's like that type of shit.
Perish.
Seriously, honestly, seriously.
And they're like
I don't
spending
care
their
if it's my
lives.
grandpa. Like I'm serious. Like it's time for you to go. It's just your time's up.
I
If you
do
can't
think-
adjust, your time's up. That's what fucking evolution is. Adapt or die.
I mean, yeah.
You don't have to die if you don't adapt. Right? Like, you know what I'm
There will be
saying?
a time, I'm sure, where we won't adapt.
We won't. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm saying it now. Who knows what I'll say when
No,
I'm
no,
80,
you
but
won't
it's
say
time
it.
for me to die. It's time for me. I might not say it like in that mindset because I might be selfish, but I'm saying it now like idealistically. It's time for me to die.
That's super
At that point, it's
idealistic,
time for-
yeah.
it's very-
Dude, this is
Please.
recorded.
No, it is.
It's
We're gonna put it
it's
on
in the
YouTube.
most former
YouTube,
fashions.
You better not crash
Formal
in 80
fashions.
years, YouTube. I hope YouTube's still around.
Yeah.
And you should feel proud about
You
like
should.
having a piece in that
Yes.
culture.
in the development
Yeah.
of it, in the creation of it, because
you should want to contribute to
because
that.
the idea has lasted. The idea
Yes.
of capturing like
Yes.
story, a visual story, and telling it through images and all that type, like that has lasted. The practices have changed.
Mhm.
Maybe the focus
The
has
methods
changed.
and
The
everything.
methods, the themes, they've all changed. But the idea has always been, I'm going to capture this
Yeah,
idea, this moment, this whatever it is, through the lens of a camera, and you can see it, right? So it's like, you should feel proud of being part of that.
Mhm.
Any creative like
I feel good
field that I was gonna say has any depth to it, but most creative fields you should be, because I mean they could be at different points, you know, in their evolution. So you should be proud as a contributor to that because you are part of what is gonna make it what it will be. Like people who are making, I don't know when film started, but people who are making it in the first 10 years, they're a part of today. We just will never know, and like it's just changed. It's the same way we'll never know our original like ancestor. Like we'll never feel the experience of like the first human, just because we're something totally different. But we're based off of that and off of them.
You can relate it almost to science in the way that theories are built on theories on theories. And
Stand
math
on the
is
shoulders of
developed on each
giants.
other. Yeah,
Dude,
we're doing the same thing.
look at that.
Art is a science.
Art is wow. And it's funny because they're all no, but like that's funny. But like the common thought is that they're different, right? Like that they have to be different. That they're two opposing thoughts, two opposing like ways of looking at things. But they can blend, and I think blending them is probably the best thing.
Scientific questions come from imagination and creativity.
Exactly.
Yeah, it comes from
wondering.
We talked about this on the first episode, but the whole point of science is to question, is to try and think outside of the box, answer and discover more, right? And then have more questions about what you just discovered. And I think art is very similar in the same. You're trying to express.
It is about answering questions too.
Exactly. You have a question about like
yourself,
yourself, the world, what you can capture, and like how you can express it. And then after you express it that one time, either you go on to continue it, asking newer questions, or someone else might and build upon it. And that's what the whole culture becomes. Mm-hmm. That's how it evolves. Dude, it's like its own species. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it all blends. Like, being a filmmaker, being a rapper, being a painter. It's all its own species where you have, like, a collective shared gene pool, but then you all split off and become your own beings. Like, that's sick because it shows that they don't have to be contrasting. I float between the science and art realm, like a lot of times in my just everyday thinking. It's, I guess, scientific, quote unquote, because it relies more on like, I mean, logic, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's more logical thinking, that type of thing. But then the artistic feeling, I would say, is more, quote unquote, emotional, but more like instinctive, more like not things you, right? And it's less things you learn, it's things you feel, right? Like it's things that are innate in a sense. But it's like you need a healthy balance of both. Definitely. Because they all contribute to knowing. They all contribute because
human nature.
Exactly. Because I get different things from thinking logically, from thinking emotionally, or acting emotionally, or feeling emotionally, anything like that. So it's like they all encompass. And there's been times when one has been true, more true or less true. You know, because they don't exactly any of them ever really get to the objective truth. They all try to just get as close as possible. But I've realized the way to get as close as possible is to incorporate all the realms. Because they all get closer in different circumstances. So I guess that's kind of like trying to become a complete person. Where did this go? This is like a self-help podcast.
At some point, we were getting close to the spheres of influence.
So, James, please, if you would please come forward to the mic. You're being summoned to the stage. I want to know if like growing up in Dallas and growing up in the South. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you, Alyssa. Is like, were there was there anything similar to what I'm talking about how Southerners are painted a certain way, where Northerners painted a certain way? Did you notice more once you got here, or was there anything like any of those type of revelations that you noticed once? Because you only came here once you came to college, right?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Like, so for me, I think there is definitely a noticeable difference between Southern cities and Northern cities, for sure. Did the camera just die?
It shut off right as I walked behind it.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's all good.
You can try turning it off and on.
Yeah, I'm also gonna move this one, but go ahead, keep going.
But for me, I don't think it's like a race thing. Well, I guess first let me answer your first question. Yeah, there's definitely stereotypes about what Northern states would be like.
Yankees.
Yeah, like for me, it was like, okay, they're probably more liberal because it's a big city and cities are usually more liberal. But also the fast-paced nature of it. Like, it's just, it's going to be a different culture because in the South, everything's spread out. And there's more chances to, yeah, like you definitely have a lot more alone time. You're not like cramped up with so many people in one space. But beyond race, I think the issue I see is like the wealth disparity. I think that's, I think that's what causes people to
separate,
to feel like it's like it's less integrated because when you
that was something I thought of
yeah, like the people I was around in Texas definitely were more diverse than here. Like I only hang out with white people here, pretty much. And like but like in my high school it was only Mexican people and black people, like lots of Mexican and black people, maybe like 5 or 6 white people. And I don't know if that's just the difference between Dallas and Boston, but
it must be
not
the only difference.
No,
but
yeah,
that's a massive difference.
No, but like in the sense that like I'm sure southern states have more like a higher Mexican population.
Yeah.
So it's also skewed in that way. But for sure, the economic basis, like you see so many more poor people here compared to rich people because this is like one of the biggest cities in America, right?
Yeah, oh definitely.
And so so with that, you're gonna have people who have old money and like have a lot more money and are able to live in these big sky rises. compared to the people that can't, you know. But in Texas, that wealth is like kind of spread a little more, or at least it seems that way because everything's not like right next to each other. You know? Yeah.